today, we're feeding my ants some grass spiders. I just put the spiders in and the ants are already attacking them. One of the spiders has already swarmed by majors and minors, while the rest of them are in the process of being catched. One of the spiders has already lost some of its legs. They do this because they know that they can grow them back later. But sadly, these spiders aren't going to get a chance to grow their legs back, because it hasn't even been a minute and the spiders are already considered ant food. These guys didn't even have a chance, because as soon as an ant got a hold of the spider, it was pretty much game over. For those that are wondering, I feed my ants live food for two reasons. One, because it gives them a little challenge, and two, you guys get to see how the ants hunt their food.
Big-headed ants tend to use the drawn and quartered method, where minors hold the prey down by their limbs, and the major workers go on top to dismember it.
Almost like what you're seeing here. However, the ants pretty much took off all the legs of this spider. Now, my ants don't just tear up the spiders for fun. They actually need this protein in order to feed their larvae, because without this extra protein, the larvae just won't grow. And usually without protein, the queens lay less eggs. If you like these feeding videos, you're not going to want to miss the next one, where I feed my big-headed ants some really aggressive tiger beetle larvae. Today, I caught this super fast mouse spider, and I'm going to be feeding it to my giant ant colony. With the mouse spider now in the outworld of the ants, it's time to see what happens. The ants are well aware of the spider's presence and have now sent a search party of ants to look for the spider. This happens to be the second mouse spider this colony has ever had, and they are much more prepared this time because they sent out a major worker. Some of the ants have grabbed onto the spider's leg, and it's not taking very long before more ants have arrived to the scene. The major worker is now on its way, and the spider is struggling a lot. The major worker is now biting the spider's leg. Spider knows it's in a lot of trouble, but it can't really do much now that it lost another leg. Where's the first leg he lost, you might ask? Well, it's right underneath his fish flake. These ants aren't wasting any time. With the spider now pinned down, they're taking off each leg one by one. Keep in mind, the spider is still alive. Although this spider took a big L today, its body will feed the next generation of ants. And with spider number 2 down, what should I feed these ants next? Today I caught this super fast wolf spider, and we're gonna feed it to my big-headed ants. With the spider inside, it's now time to see what the ants do. With very little ants in the outworld, the spider has an advantage this time. But the first minor worker makes contact with the spider, and has sounded off the alarm that food is in the outworld. So now there's majors and minors rushing into the outworld to try and catch the spider. I wasn't able to catch it on camera, but one of the ants took off the spider's leg. But the spider is doing its best to fight back right now. Oh man, a major just came by and grabbed the spider's leg, and it just took the spider's leg clean off. The spider is not looking good right now, and it's doing its best to fight back. Another major worker came by to attack the spider, but this time it's going for the joints that connects the spider's carapace to the abdomen. What's mind-blowing is that it only takes one ant to sound the alarm, and another rat to just hold on to the spider while the rest come by to help. Because it only took a few minutes for the spider to end up looking like this. With another wolf spider down, what should I feed this colony next? Oh man, today we're feeding these spiders to my big-headed ant colony. Some dead, some alive, but as you know, the ants won't complain. With all of the spiders inside, it's time to watch as the ants take them down. And already this spider's being swarmed by ants, and a major worker has it by one of its legs. While on this side, this spider's trying to break free, and this major worker was just bitten by that spider, and she's still holding on to its leg. Already some of the ants are trying to drag the spiders back into the nest, but some of the super fast males are making an escape, except for this one who's about to get swarmed. Already the ants have taken off a leg, but there's many more legs to pull off. This big female has so far been untouched, but it won't be long before she ends up looking like these guys. The ants have taken off another leg, and one of the ants grabbed onto the female spider, and now the female spider's on her back, with the major holding onto her leg. The ants have already started dragging some of the spiders in, and I think it's safe to say that the big female spider is most definitely ant food. I don't know how many spiders this was, but if you like these feeding videos, what should I feed my ants next? As you all know, I have a 3-queen big-headed ant colony, and these guys eat a lot, so we're feeding them some more spiders. With all of the spiders inside, it's time to watch as my ants eat them. Already the spider with super long legs has minors all over it, and a major worker has just bitten onto the other leg. One of these fatter spiders has 2 minors on it, but the wolf spider has managed to escape. The long-legged spider is spinning some silk, which is trapping some of the ants together. But the ants have now swarmed the long-legged spider, and have pinned it down to the base of the outworld. They've also started dragging the biggest spider back to the nest, while it's still alive, but the wolf spider is still untouched. Well, actually, it only has 3 legs on one of its sides, and well, the other leg is here. In fact, now the ants are ripping all the legs off of all the spiders. These guys still look pretty hungry. I was gonna say so I gave them a fly, but for some reason it crawled directly into the tube. Fly must have not watched the centipede video, because it made the same mistake. Yeah, so if you're new, I fed my ants a centipede as well, so feel free to stalk my page for a while. What should I feed them next? Yesterday I found this spider, and today we're feeding it to my big-headed ants for protein, because as we all know, they can't grow without it. And with the spider now inside, it's time to watch the ants eat their food. And it doesn't take long for the ants to pin down the spider. Soon after that, the first major workers arrive to the scene. And literally just a few seconds after the spider's capture, the ants have already taken off one of the spider's legs. The colony is literally swarming the lid of their outworld right now, but soon enough they'll notice the food is down here. Speaking of which, the ants managed to take off a second leg. But the spider is not done fighting, as it tries again and again to escape the ants. Yet as we all know, the ants are not going to let the spider go, as it's been a little while since they actually had a spider. Hopefully after the ants eat the spider, the colony gets to grow a little bit bigger, because recently things have slowed down after I stopped feeding them protein. And after not having protein for a while, you can see the ants don't waste any of their chances of getting another meal, and take this spider in with gratitude. Oh, and don't worry, I still have the challenge going on where you choose to feed my ant stuff. And by the looks of it, we might be feeding them a raw egg later today. This is my 3-queen big-headed ant colony, and in order for them to grow, they need a lot of protein. My mom ended up finding a spider and told me to come and get it. So I did, and today we're feeding it to my ants. And with the spider now inside, it's time to watch as the ants get their protein that they need. So far the spider avoided most of the ants, but now a lot of the colony knows that there's a spider in the outworld, and they're sending a lot more ants to go look for the spider. It didn't take long for the spider to be swarmed, because after the first ant attacked the spider, many more of the ant sisters came out to go and help. And as you can see, the spider is pinned down, and the ants begin working on eating the spider. All of these little larvae that you see here need the spider to grow, and all the 3 queens need the protein as well in order to lay a lot of eggs. So while the spider might be pretty small, it'll at least feed some of the colony. And when they're ready, I'll give them another meal. And speaking of which, what should I feed this colony next? This is my 3-queen big-headed ant colony, and today we're gonna be feeding them this spider. With the spider now inside, it's time to watch as my ants eat their next meal. The spider's only been in there for a few seconds, and some of the ants have already started attacking the spider. Yet the spider has a lot of webbing to spin, and has made a net which has caught all of these ants right here, leaving all of these ants tangled up on top of each other. But now the spider's fighting back with venom, and has bitten some of the worker ants. Yet the colony is still not giving up, and with all the ants biting the spider, they're popping little holes in its leg, which is causing drops of spider blood to seep out. Since the spider has a big abdomen, it's gonna help feed a lot of the colony. And hopefully once the queens eat some of the spider, they should begin laying a lot more eggs. As for the rest of the spider, it'll be fed to the baby ants of the colony. And now that we've fed my ants another spider, it's my turn to ask, what should I feed my ant colony next? Leave a comment and I might choose to feed it to my ants next. Today I caught this wolf spider, and we're feeding it to my big-headed ant colony. With the spider now inside, it's time to watch as the ants eat their meal. Immediately the spider starts running away, but the first few workers and majors attack the spider. It doesn't take long before the whole outworld is filled with ants, and the spider is now completely swarmed. But the spider isn't done fighting back, and starts to bite a few of the workers. But that's not going to be enough to stop this hungry colony. With all of the baby ants inside of the nest, these ants need a lot of protein, and this wolf spider is packed full of it. The ants have now started to stretch the spider's legs out, and more major workers come out the nest to go and help. Look at how big this major is compared to the other workers. For some reason, the ants even decided to bring larvae outside, but make a swift retreat back into the nest. Even though the spider stopped moving, the ants continue to recruit more workers and majors. We're coming to the end of the video, but if you could tag TikTok in this video, that would help a lot. I'm trying to get verified here, but it's a little bit difficult. And by tagging them in this video, hopefully we can get their attention.